Hi guys, welcome back to Theme Park Fantasy. Today we're taking a very special trip to the land of the movies. That's right, today's video is about the top 10 tips for Disney's Hollywood Studios. We're going to be covering some things you might not know about and some things that you definitely should know about. But before we get down to it, please go ahead and like and subscribe this video so you never miss a video from us. Alright, I love Hollywood Studios. I'd have to say, hands down, it is one of my favorite parks ever since I was a little kid. I love the style, I love the different rides that you can get there. I was a big Star Wars fan, I love the fact they had a Star Wars ride. But now Hollywood has grown so much different, and that's not a bad thing, but there are some things that you should know about before you go. So let's go ahead and kick it off. At number 10 tip is go through Toy Story Land into Galaxy's Edge. Whether you like Galaxy's Edge or not is a matter of opinion. I've heard many different people love it and many different people who were disappointed with it. But in my personal experience, if you want that first entering a land feeling to be the most special it can be, take a swing around, go through Toy Story Land, which is an amazing land on its own, and go through the entrance there. It opens up into this wide market section of Galaxy's Edge, and from there, you're just enveloped in that Star Wars feeling. It's not actually the entrance that they want you to go through. They actually would like you to go around the other side and go through the tunnel facade before you go through into the area. My problem with that is, it doesn't look good. It does not create this awe-inspiring feeling of you going to another planet, but you do get that when you go through Toy Story Land. You just do, and that's the feeling everyone should have when they go to another planet. Alright, number 9, sticking with Galaxy's Edge. Go for the Docking Bay 7 and not the Cantina. Docking Bay 7 is the kind of quick serve restaurant for Galaxy's Edge, but I highly recommend it over the Cantina. It's important to know the Cantina isn't really a restaurant, it's more of a bar, but they do bill it as a restaurant. But of the two, Docking Bay 7 is so much better. The food is better. They usually have alcoholic drinks if that's your thing you like to do in Disney. And in the end, the atmosphere is better. I mean, you can have your own table. If you're not very much into the sharing thing, and today sharing is not really an option, the Cantina was never set up for that. And it's just really cramped and crowded in some areas. Yeah, it has some cool stuff. It was cool to go in there and you get to see Rex from the original Star Tours ride, but no, just go to Docking Bay 7. You'll have such a better time. They even have cool silverware there that you can take with you because it's pre-plastic wrapped. It's designed to be taken home. It's really cool. Number 8, still sticking with Galaxy's Edge, let's go ahead and head on over to Don Akhtar's Den of Antiquities. For a Star Wars nerd, if you are one, or you have one in your family, they love Star Wars, they binge watch the movies and the TV shows, and they have comic books. Yes, you know who this person is in your family. You have to take them to Don Akhtar's Den of Antiquities. This place is filled with references and antiques from the films, and even some of the TV shows. The lore that they incorporated into this one building outweighs almost everything else in the whole of Galaxy's Edge. If you think that they are maybe a little bit underwhelmed by Galaxy's Edge, take them in here. And once you're inside Don Akhtar's Den of Antiquities, it's just such an amazing feeling that you get from being in here. As a Star Wars nerd, I loved the fact that they had references to the Wampa from Empire Strikes Back, and they had different lightsaber hilts for the different Jedi that I loved. It's just an amazing experience. And FYI, if you love the Mandalorian TV show, you can actually see a version of his armor on the walls in the antiquity shop. It's fantastic. It's a truly great experience for anybody who loves Star Wars. Next up, we're going to be moving on to number 7. You should, if you want to eat in Hollywood Studios, either go to Mama Melrose or the Brown Derby. Again, we're getting into subjective territory here. I always tell you guys this, that my taste might differ from yours, but here's the facts. Eating in Hollywood Studios has never been its strongest point. In fact, the two best restaurants, in my opinion, is Mama Melrose or the Brown Derby. The Brown Derby looks like this really upscale place, and it is upper scale food, but it is still affordable. The atmosphere is nice. It can be relaxed. They have a nice bar selection. You have good selections of steak and fish. It's really nice. Mama Melrose is this really homey environment where you sit down and you feel like you've been invited into a real Italian restaurant, and there's really great food, and the decorations are like filled with these old nods to Hollywood stuff from the 50s to the 70s. It's this really great experience. I love eating at either of these locations. The food is always top-notch. I don't think I've ever had an issue with either of them. Personal recommendations, the filet mignon is always great at the Brown Derby. And if they have it at the time, I would always recommend the shrimp or chicken and vodka sauce at Mama Melrose. Those are just perfect for a great day at the parks. Beyond that, you can go to SciFi Diner. I will say that, I will add that to the list, but I add it to the list on the condition that it is much more of an experience for you and your family than it is necessarily good food. It's not bad, you're just not getting the upper level for the price tag that you're paying. That is more based on you sitting, it's like an old drive-in theater where you're looking at old movies on the giant screen. We're going to move on from that now and go to our next, which is going to be get breakfast at the Tower of Terror cart outside after you've ridden the ride. Let's face it, you've all been there. You've scheduled your day, you got up early in the morning so you could be there near park opening, if not at park opening. You get on your first ride of the day. If you've listened to our video on the top rides, you'll know that the one that we favor here at Theme Park Fantasy is the Tower of Terror, because it is one of the best in the park. We're going to warn you about this, though. Don't eat before you get on this ride. This ride is going to jerk you around a lot. It may cause some motion sickness. I don't recommend eating before it. What I do recommend, though, is once you're off that ride and you're fine, get stuff from the Joffreys Cart outside. It's less expensive than the Starbucks that they have on their main street, and arguably, I like the giant donuts a lot better than any of those pastries. Giant donuts in Disney World, people. That's what we're talking about. Next tip, we're going to say, go check out the bar outside of the Brown Derby if there appears to be a long wait inside. Like I said, Brown Derby is one of the best in the park, so you can see quite a line start to build up inside of it. If that happens, but you really want to get some of that atmosphere, some of that food and drink, then you can check out the bar outside. If it's pouring outside, the bar may be closed. Depending on the time of day, the bar may be closed. But if it's open, it can be a great way to get a similar experience without having to worry about waiting in such a long line to sit down inside. Alright, now we're in our top free. Yay! Top free for the parks! Alright, get to the Millennium Falcon early. Ever since our current situation hit in the year of our Lord 2020, there has been an interesting event that has happened with the Millennium Falcon. It is now single party riding inside of the ride, meaning that if you have free people, that's who goes into the cockpit of the Falcon. This is a great experience if you really didn't like the idea of sharing your ride experience with other people, total strangers, or if, you just really wanted to have that experience with a very select group. Well, you can have that now. I mean, as long as your group is 6 or under, that group will be fitted into the Falcon. They don't put anybody else in there. The flip side of this is that line is now a lot longer than it was before because they can't cycle as many people through. So get there early. This will be one of the few times that we're going to recommend that you really do go to a park early, is getting to do the Millennium Falcon, and that feeling of being a pilot or the gunner or the engineer, just you and your family or you and your group, is amazing, and it's an experience that everyone should have at least once. Moving on to number 2, ride the Tower of Terror at night. Again, if you've seen our video on best rides, you know Tower of Terror is a creepy ride. It's good for those who love thrills and chills. But that is actually even better when you ride it at night. The music becomes more haunting, and the artifacts start to look a bit creepier when they're only illuminated by the lights inside the hotel. Even better, the hotel itself has lights projected onto it, giving it this ethereal glow like it's not quite in our dimension. Haha. So that is a better experience. Another fun fact, if you actually go just before park closing, the sign, as soon as the line whittles down, will constantly say 13 minutes, as 13 is an unlucky number and very much tied to the ride. And number 1, our most recommended tip right now for Hollywood Studios. Don't stress about Rise of the Resistance. I can't begin to tell you guys how much I believe in this tip, and you need to know it. Rise of the Resistance was this big attraction. It was touted because Disney did not open with their mainstream attraction for Galaxy's Edge. They instead put the Millennium Falcon in, which was not supposed to be the mainstream, and this would open later. Only now where we are, the ride has constant problems. Trying to get inside the ride by itself is next to impossible. I have tried now 4 or 5 times. You get to the park at 10 or 1, even if you're there for both, you will submit your number on your phone. The chances of you getting on are nil. do not base your vacation around this. I mean it. You're setting yourself up for some misery, and you just don't need that kind of stress in your life right now. There's still lots of fun rides. Star Tours is a fun ride. Tower Terror is a great ride. Millennium Falcon is a great ride. Do not let this be your end-all be-all for your total experience in Disney. Take it for what it is. If you could get into it, that's an added bonus, but don't set yourself up on it. From experiences people have had, they've said it's really cool, but with the breakdowns it's been having, they've started to lose a little bit of faith in it. So, just keep that in mind, and you can still have a great time at Hollywood Studios. For Theme Park Fantasy, this has been Jace. Please be sure to like and subscribe this video to always catch up on what we're doing. Have a great and magical day.